And here we go. Spawning. In the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have the South Korean Terran player himself representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have the Shield of Ire. We have the ex-military Protoss player. He is red, representing Kwangdong Freaks. It is Stats. Here we go. Again, if you were here earlier in the morning, we did cast ByuN make it all the way to the grand finals of ESL Open Cup Americas against Clem. And that best of 5 went all the way to the ace match. It was crazy. But again, it just goes to show like how on fire ByuN has been recently. Consistently making it into those finals, having those deep runs. So I think this is going to be a good challenge here for Stats. Again, Stats looking to prove himself as he returns to the game. He's already brought down some big names. Brought down Creator, brought down Scarlet. Can he bring down ByuN? See in the chat, wasn't Stats the #1 Protoss at some point? Yes, he was. He was the #1 Protoss in the world a couple of years ago, before he went to the military. But now he's back. Now he has returned. He's got that military training under his belt. That we're just having him running some Brood War drills over and over again. Oh, it was intense, Bobby. It was intense. But it's great to see him back. It's great to see all these returning players once the military service is done. Feels good, man. Feels good. And as we've seen with some of these other players, like, it takes some time. It takes some time to really regain your skill. I think Classic is a good example of that. Classic and Hero came back at the same time, but it took Classic a little bit longer to really get into the swing of things and really kind of flourish as a player. And now Classic is top 3 Protoss in Korea. Like, he's actually insane right now. But it took him a little bit longer to get there. You know, Hero rose up very quickly, and now Stats is looking to do the same. As we do see our Rax Expand opener here from ByuN, we're actually going into a 3 Rax as a follow-up. Oh my god. Before that happens, the first Reaper is getting across the map, looking to try and harass the mineral line here. Oh, gets one probe. Oh my, he wants more. Well, did you see that? He just juked the Stalker. Oh my god. Stats having a hard time keeping up. 2 probes go down. ByuN fighting tooth and nail with that Reaper. Finally, he gets cleaned up. But nice damage also confirms the opener as well, or scouts at least the faster Nexus. Doesn't see the tech though. The Twilight Council was delayed. Interesting choice here by Stats. Does keep it hidden from ByuN, as ByuN was unable to see that. Meanwhile, again, ByuN with a more economic opener is going into a 3 Rax follow-up. And this can work very well against Stargate openers, but as we can see, it's not a Stargate, it's a Twilight Council. Before that happens, Stats doing the best he can to try and pick away at these Marines across the map. And how many gateways are we going to be able to work with here? We only have our 2nd gate on the way. Typically with Blink, we have 3 or even 4 gateways to see how committed we're going to be, or if we're going to go for a faster 3rd Nexus instead. Alas, the problem is that Stats is still in the dark. He's still not fully aware of what the follow-up is going to be. Even though it was a Rax Expand, it can go into a 1-1-1 follow-up. As Stats, we can see why he was working on only 2 gateways. He goes for a very fast 3rd. So this is a very kind of, I don't see this too often, but like a passive variation of a Blink opener. Very passive, and this may kill him. Like, it's so important when you open up Blink, it's so important to be active on the map to slow down any kind of push, not just to slow it down, but also to get eyes on it. Stats is playing blind right now. He doesn't know the opener of ByuN, for one. He doesn't know that an army is getting ready to move out across the map. Here we go, the Observer is coming out, and finally he'll get eyes on all of these Marines. And we need to see a big reaction. And here we go. We've got a Forge on the way, which isn't really going to help. We still only have 2 gates. We have that Robo. We can get into Immortal production. Stats is going to be moving out with his army, which is good, but he doesn't have that much of it. And Blink is still not done. Again, because it was delayed, because of the natural. Oh boy. Link is going to finish up in 3 seconds, but before that happens, one Stalker is going to go down, and maybe even a second. And this is already too much damage. The shield battery gets focused down. The Stalkers as well. As ByuN just rushes his way into the natural base. The boys have to be pulled, but they're just going to get annihilated. It's just too much. Oh. Again, Stats with a really peculiar opener that we don't see too often, and this is also why. Just really greedy. I shouldn't say peculiar, I should just say greedy here from Stats. And ByuN is taking full advantage of him. GG gets called, and ByuN, with his opener, takes game number 1. Wow. GG. Again, Stats punished for his delayed blink, punished for his faster third as well. He only had 2 gateways, no immortal production. Just very greedy play from Stats. Oh, and yeah, it's always a risk you take whenever you do that, and whenever you don't really know what your opponent is up against, or what your opponent is doing. Pretty straightforward game. GG, and now we're going to be getting into game number 2. Stats is the best Terran player. True. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the player that is currently leading this series, the South Korean Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss, the ex-military player representing Kwangdong Freaks. It is Stats. Trying to get away with murder in game 1. If Asher was here, I'm pretty sure he would say that what Stats was trying to do in game 1 was illegal. And ByuN arrested him for it. It was... It's also crazy because it's not like Stats was being greedy on one of the larger maps like Altitude or Ancient Cistern or Gressvan as well, where you can maybe make an argument to get away with that. On a smaller map, it's just, yeah, such a wild way to open. And speaking of being wild, ByuN, he's going for a single gas opener, but it's not for a Rax expand, it's for a 2 Rax. The aggression, it just doesn't stop. It's ByuN. Oh boy. As the first probe is going to get across the map, at least Stats is going to be probe scouting. He's a little bit distracted here, trying to harass this building SCV. Hopefully Stats goes in a little bit further and confirms what's going on. As he does see the single gas. And I'm sure he's going to be anticipating the CC. Yeah, so he's going to be spending some time here at the natural, delaying the CC, which would make sense if ByuN didn't have a second Rax. Oh boy, and it looks like ByuN is going to be fully walling off here. And for all Stats knows, for all he knows, the CC is still on the way, it's just on the high ground. Like, that's another thing that Terran players can do. You just throw down the CC on the high ground, and you just float it down afterwards. So Stats is none the wiser. Here we go, the first Reaper is zooming across the map, is going to be shutting down this probe. Again, limiting the scouting information of Stats. And 1 Reaper isn't a surprise, like, it's what we should be seeing. Stats is going for a gate expand, does have a shield battery on the way at the natural, but there's no shield battery in the main, and that's the problem. Like, if Stats was aware of the 2 Rax opener and the Reapers coming across the map, he would be getting ready in the main as well, because ByuN can bypass the shield battery at the natural, and that's exactly what he does. Oof. Doesn't knock away that Stalker, heads towards the natural base. He's going to be able to focus down two probes. Only 2 for the time being. And we'll get a 3rd in the main. He's going to get a 4th. Can he get a 5th? He will. Gets a 5th probe and gets the hell out of there. 5 probes for 1 Reaper. Well worth it here for ByuN, especially because he's able to get a full scout as well. Or actually, scout the natural at least. Doesn't quite confirm the tech in the main. But because we have Stalkers, it is unlikely to be a Stargate. Typically, if we have a Stargate opener, we're going for a Depths instead, just so we can save some of that gas. Spend it on Phoenixes. And behind this, we're going into, I guess, like a pseudo 2-on-1. We've been seeing a little bit more of 2-on-1s in TvP recently, to be honest. By Maru. I think Clem has been doing it as well. It's so weird seeing it in this matchup, but it can work quite well. I mean, there are pros and cons to it, of course. It is going to be eating into or delaying any kind of tank production, any big commitment into Widow Mines. Meanwhile, the 2 Reapers get back into the main base. They get a 6th probe. Oh, and won't quite get a 7th. Just barely. But again, ByuN, yeah, he was able to confirm. Did see the Twilight Council in the end. He's aware of Blink. And Stats is doing it again, by the way. So he delayed his Twilight Council, he delayed Blink. He's off of 2 gates, he's going for a 3rd Nexus. So once again, very passive and very greedy. I don't want to say defensive. I don't want to go that far. Just very economic play. It's crazy. Meanwhile, he's going to be going for a hallucinated scout. Is going to confirm the Widowmine drop coming across the map and also sees the production. His eyes on the 3-rack setup, which is quite standard. And what you should be expecting to be seeing here. For a 2-basing Terran. And the mine drop was confirmed. Hopefully Stats saw it. He's getting ready for a mine drop here on the right-hand side. He's kind of misreading the situation. Thankfully, oh, we do have 2 Stalkers in the main. I was getting worried. I was getting quite scared. Thankfully, Stats is ready for it. But this push is going to hit quite hard. Again, because we started with 2 racks, we already have an abundance of Marines. We're getting into Marauder production as well. This is going to hit hard once we do get our 2 medevacs. And Stats is going to have a faster 3rd, sure. He's working towards charge. Hasn't thrown down any additional gateways yet. He hasn't thrown down a bay either, so no splash damage. We're going to need our production soon. Oh, he sees it. That's it. Does spot the army. And there we go. I was like, mate, I'm getting anxious watching Stats. I'm like, look, buddy, I know we want to cut corners, but we need some production. And there we go. 2 more gateways to throw down. Did I say 2? I meant to say 3 gateways thrown down. There's our 4th. But charge is not going to be done in time. This is going to hit quite fast here. Charge is not going to be done, and no Colossi. There is going to be a shield battery and an overcharge, but not the most ideal army. ByuN can punish this 3rd. This concussive shell is 10 seconds away from finishing, and here we go. ByuN is going to be pushing on forward. The tank is going to be sieging up as well. Stats tries to target down that Widowmine, but no, it will borrow. And we can just stim on forward. We have an overcharge, but we don't care about the overcharge. We're going to be able to dive on top of everything here. And once again, Stats is just caught with his pants down. GG gets called. And ByuN takes a quick and fast 2-0 here over Stats. Ay, ay, ay. GG. Powerful play from ByuN. Stats, 2 games in a row. He really wanted to get away with a faster economy, really delaying his tech and delaying his army, delaying his production, and yeah, ByuN just kind of showing that can be taken advantage of. Oh, GG. That was a bit brutal, not gonna lie. That was a bit brutal. Stats looking a lot better in his previous series. Here against ByuN, a little bit more one-sided. Oh, but GG. GG, well played. ByuN, I believe, moves on to the semifinals with this win. Moves on to the semifinals. And before we cast ByuN semifinals match, we have one more series. Uno mas, papi, uno mas. We have a quarterfinals match here between Dark and Classic. The winner of this moves on to face ByuN. Just for some context behind how these series and how this bracket is shaping up. Dark versus Classic.